So, a quick culture clip to explain about la ITV, the ITV. Now, the ITV, or MOT as you call it in English, quite a lot of confusion comes up in the classroom about it. Question that I get asked quite a lot is how often do I have to have an ITV? And the little sticker that goes on the glass when you've had one, how does it work, etc. So the first thing you need to understand is that your first ITV in España is when the car is 4 years old. So you buy a brand new car, brand new, not if you buy a car off somebody else, a new car as in straight out the showroom, it has its first MOT when it's 4 years old. And then it will have one every 2 years after that until it gets to 10. At 10 then it starts having the ITV every year after that. So your first one at 4, every 2 years until it gets to 10 years of age, and then every year after that. Now with the ITV you have a date that you have to take it, and you can take it before and you can actually take it after, meaning that if your ITV runs out, and I must admit on my BMW, I was late going with it recently in December. So I was like a week over. It doesn't matter. They don't penalize you. They give it you from that date onwards. The problem is that if you are driving without an ITV, it's not the fine actually. The fine's not that big. I think the fine is €200 for driving without an ITV. So it's not that big a fine. The problem is that, of course, if you have an accident, you don't have any insurance. Your insurance is null and void because insurance is only valid if you have an ITV. And you know that insurance companies are always looking to get out of paying people for crashes, etc. So that's the worrying part if you let your ITV go over. It is different, like with motorbikes, it's every 2 years, the ITV. Industrial vehicles or work vans, as I think you would call them, they can be every 6 months, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. And then, of course, you have the históricos, the cars that have a H at the beginning of the number plate, which are the historic vehicles. Because I have a classic car as well, which only has an MOT every 4 years because the car is 45 plus years old. It has an MOT every 4 years. And when it gets to 60 years of age, the car will have no more MOTs after that, no more ITVs at all, which I think is a bit strange that you don't need an ITV at all when the car gets to be 60 years of age. Also, the other bit which is unusual is that, as you probably know, they're bringing in, like in Madrid, where I can't go into Madrid with my BMW because of the emissions, because it's a petrol car of more than a certain age, and you can't go in with diesels, etc. I mean, the centre of Madrid, practically you can't go in there unless you're driving a Tesla. But my historic car can go anywhere in Spain. So I can drive my gas-guzzling American old vintage car into the centre of Madrid because it's histórico, it's a historical car, which doesn't make any sense because every time I start it up, a polar bear dies with the amount of fuel it consumes, but that's slightly different. Now, the sticker on the windscreen, the big thing which I've explained before in multiple classroom lessons to students, is you will have a sticker when you have your first MOT, which you do have to put on the windscreen by law and replace it each year. You don't add them up until you've got a whole collection. And on there, it will tell you the year that your car needs its next ITV, like on my BMW, because it's more than 10 years old. I've got one on there now saying 2026 because I took it in December. And there's a hole punched in the month of December. So there's all the months along the top, January, February, March, etc. And there's a hole punch so that you know by looking at it, and the police know by looking at it, which month you have to take it. But you do not have the whole month to take it. It expires on the day that you took it last time. So on my BMW, the hole is on December, but I took it the 2nd of December. So this year we're in now, 2026, December the 3rd, it will run out and I will be driving without an ITV, because it's quite a common thing. People say, oh, it says December, I've still got 3 weeks of December. No, you haven't. It's the day you took it, which you need to understand. So the little sticker, you do have to display it. It does really annoy the Guardia Civil when they pull you over and you haven't got it on your windscreen, and they can fine you for it. So I have it on my windscreen, even though it doesn't look very nice. And the month is telling you which month. And of course, the whole telling you the month does not tell you the day. You have to look on your logbook and it tells you when you have to do it. So please remember ITV. First one when you get to 4, then every 2 years till you get to 10, then every year after that. Motorbike's different, every 2 years. Commercial vehicles, trucks, etc. every 6 months. So hopefully that explains some of the common things, especially the sticker bit, and that if you go over and you're late taking it, it doesn't matter, they don't fine you. And if you're early, it doesn't matter. If you go too early, you're just wasting months. But as I say, it's worth remembering those things for the next time you go to la ITV.